Hello, everyone. Good morning. Let me get rid of this spammer. Just hit the account right when I was about ready to talk. There we go. Got them. All right. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good on this Monday as we're cruising along here through the mid portion now of July. Man, this summer is flying by fast. And this summer's been about two big themes, really, with hot surges at times, but really the storm weather, the stormy weather, the pattern we've been getting into where we've had a lot of what we call those MCSs, those complexes of storms rolling in with high winds and producing some flooding, messing up a lot of our outdoor plans, and a lot of the gardening too has been impacted by, of course, such a soggy grounds we've had. Now, the one plus we've had with this that I've noticed in the past week, and you have too, is that we're getting some nice breaks that are showing up about 2 to 3 days in between all that, and that's good. We need those breaks. They do help in a stormy pattern like this, especially when it comes to the amount of water that we're getting. So hopefully we will see that trend continue, but looks like our quiet period right now has got another 36 hours on it, roughly, and then we'll get back into the stormy pattern again. See all your comments as always. So you can comment on social media that way. It'll show up here on my lovely little monitor. You can't see off the side, but bear with me. Sometimes it flies by too fast. I won't be able to see it, but I promise I will keep checking. If you're watching on streaming right now on your phone, your device, or on Roku and Fire Stick, you will not be able to see the comments. They have that technology side of things hasn't been fully developed yet, but it's getting there. So hopefully one day we will see that. Before we get into the weather, though, side of things, I just want to update you guys on what I think a lot of you are hearing already on the shows this morning, and that is the mess that is on I-64, where I-64 is closed at Blankenbaker right now. It's 5 vehicles, understand, involved in this crash. I don't have a lot of recent detail on it, on the seriousness of what is happening here. You know, it looks like someone would have been hurt in this kind of setup. I just don't know the extent at this point. I just know that the eastbound flow is closed at Blankenbaker on I-64. So if you have plans, doctor's appointments, anything like that, you normally would travel through this area to get to, it may be a bit longer before they have a chance to get cleaned up. There's probably a lot of fuel and water on the roadway. We'll keep you updated on that in case things do change even while I'm on here for this morning. All right, let's get into the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And again, today we're good, tomorrow we're good. Wednesday, the marginal risk. Yet again, a marginal risk is back in the area. It covers roughly along and north of the Ohio rivers where that currently stands. So what I'm going to do, I'll explain where we're at as always on the current setup and then try to explain how do we get to a marginal risk scenario, and why is it a setup that may keep going longer than what Wednesday is showing. So we'll start off with a live look from it's a radar and satellite combination. Don't have enough sun yet to really light up anything, and if we did, we wouldn't have anything to show. We are relatively cloud-free this morning after some fog in the area. It's actually looking really nice outside at the moment. So hope you guys agree on that. Let me show you the little bit wider view. Quiet again across much of the country except for the edges right now. So we've got rain and some thunderstorm action across portions there of New England, all the way to the Florida Panhandle and the Carolinas. Am I moving kind of like a bit of a lag there? Is there a lag with me? I feel like I'm lagging on my end here. So let me know if I'm like doing Mr. Robotic here, because I feel like I am. If I am, I'm sorry. The only way for me to fix that would be to shut the whole entire thing off and restart it, and I don't want to lose you guys. I can't lose you guys. So I'm not going to do it. So if it's not too distracting, I'll keep talking, but just know that I'm aware of it. So it's not your phone or your internet signal. It's us. Okay, so you see the showers and storms across the edges, all the way down to Florida, Charleston, the Florida Panhandle, and then it goes back up again. And you know what? When you look at this and then you look at the severe risk that we have at play today, you'll notice that it pretty much outlines the edge, but a little more when you get more of a south wind involved and some of the stronger flow of northwest wind trying to build into that off the front range of the Rockies, and dry air too, that combination, that's when you're going to start to get more of your severe risk. And that's roughly from the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma all the way to UP of Michigan. Kind of a weird looking severe weather outlook, right? Kind of a big letter C across the area. Paul says, looks good on my end. All right, thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. All right, so let's move on. So where does the severe risk go? Well, don't pay too much attention to the bottom part of it across the Gulf states. Keep an eye on the Midwest. That is where it'll begin to become a little more of a front that's going to push down into the Ohio Valley. When that happens, you'll start to see how the front takes on a more of a shape of a typical cold front would make as it dips down from the north, losing the southern part now. Now we're just focused on the actual front dropping in from the northwest. This will be for tomorrow, and then we get into Wednesday. And then we get into what is likely going to be a little more activity on the radar. Now, the slight risk, level 3 or level 2 out of 5, is across just about all of Missouri, just about all of Illinois, but also into West Kentucky and West Tennessee. Now, we are in the marginal, around the edge of this. The reason for that, the front is going to be draped right across the Midwest. If you guys remember from the last wild round of severe weather that we did have, which was right before the 4th of July, we had a setup where a front or a boundary was nearby. The showers and storms that blossomed, they love to feed on the higher moisture levels, the higher dew point. So they would aim in that direction and build that way. And these will do that initially. They're going to form and they're going to dive more toward where your better moisture fields will be, which is actually, if I had to pick a map spot here, I would say the moisture fields are much greater across central Missouri and Arkansas than they would be over, say, Evansville, Indiana. So the majority of the storms are going to want to build in that area. They're going to dive south and southwest. In this scenario, though, you have to have a buffer because the modeling is not always going to get right on how that moisture field is kind of sneaking up into the Ohio Valley ahead of the front. So there's a chance that one or two of those complexes that do dive to the south may still graze some of our counties as we get into Wednesday night more than any other time, Wednesday night. At the moment, I'm not overly concerned about this particular period. This is just when we enter the storm zone. So usually we do fairly well on staying out of the weather drama of severe weather initially, and it stays to the west. But that's the way it's looking right now. We at least enter that zone at some point Wednesday night. After that, there is no outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And the reason for that is it gets too complex now. Once we get beyond a 2 to 3 day window, then we're back to that whole analogy I use a lot. The bumper cars idea of where they're going to form, and then they're going to just basically bounce off based on how they form in the morning. Will determine how they form in the afternoon. If you have a lot of activity on the radar at 9 a.m., that may help tame down the 5 p.m. version that tries to form. So therefore, you don't end up with severe weather all day. And on the flip side, if the mornings are quiet, that means the afternoon and evening will be louder and with more intense showers and storms. You don't really know those answers until you get to nearly the day of in this kind of a scenario. So I can understand why they do not have an outlook that is out for that, because it gets too complex. However, we do have the tools to try to suggest if there were to be another outlook issued from the Storm Prediction Center, where would it be? Which is a good question. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. But this is where we stand right now for at least Wednesday. It's just to our west. All right, so let me show you our in-house model here for the next couple of days. Again, quiet, no problems at all. A little bit of fog at night, beautiful sunny afternoons. We'll do this again as we head into your Tuesday. Temperatures will jump into the 80s. Once again, maybe even touch 90. That is certainly possible. Then we get into Wednesday. Now, look at the very top where the banner is. And when you get up there, then you start to see where the storms try to form and then they drop down. My computer, again, kind of got lagged on me there, but I think you guys saw. Let me back it up just to make sure. And okay, right through there, you only see hints of it, right? Illinois, but you really see the line dive right there on the western side near Columbia. That is where the storms are diving down. Those are, again, I think the spots to watch for the worst of it initially for Wednesday. Don't know yet how much of that to the east will actually build, but that's the in-house model through at least Wednesday. So what happens after that? Well, this is where we can get into some of our tools to try to analyze, to say, okay, how will this evolve after Wednesday? This is an extreme weather forecast model index that comes from the European model. And Louisville, by the way, in case you didn't know, right here. And I'm not going to get in a lot of detail with all the different colors and shades mean. Just know that if it's a darker shade that is starting to show up, that's not necessarily good, right? So your severe risk overall for Wednesday is showing up from the Euro extreme model forecast across Illinois and Missouri. You know what? That lines up very well with the Storm Prediction Center outlook, does it not? Looks really on point, actually. So we move it to Thursday. Thursday, now we are in that zone, and it's roughly southern Illinois, along the Ohio River, and really all the way into wave country. We start to see the elevated risk for severe weather start to go up. This again, Thursday we're talking about. Whether or not it's Thursday morning and Thursday night, that has to be worked out. Typically, these are usually stronger at night, in the evening hours, so I would place it more on that idea of a Thursday night event. How about Friday? Friday, no change. Oh, that sounds fun, doesn't it? Yeah, here we go again with non-stop rounds of severe weather. Yeah, this already has a look to it where we may have to enter alert day status at some point for this event, and maybe a multi-day alert day event once again for us, because you really have to be on guard day and night, and it's kind of a setup as these move through. That's the Euro extreme model forecast. Now let me show you with the SIPS, we call this SIPS analog models. This is a model that takes all severe weather events, or at least the weather pattern in the past, and says, okay, based on what it sees as the setup here for Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, where would severe weather likely be taking place based on the past? And it indicates roughly our area. We're in that general zone, certainly a little more of a maximum, if you will, into Western Tennessee, a little circle there into Memphis. But in general, we're in that spot for severe weather that does show up. Now looked at what we call the Colorado State CSU module. And this one's interesting. This is a relatively new way of forecasting. It's not exactly AI kind of stuff, but it's one of those things where it takes into account factors, and it's similar to what the other model, the SIPS model, does, and tries to forecast where severe weather would happen. And this is the outlook for Wednesday. On the left is CSU. On the right is the Storm Prediction Center. By the way, the CSU, when it plots, it always puts a black dot on where it thinks severe weather is most likely, or the worst of the severe weather max point would be where or near that black dot. And it has that in central Missouri. So for Wednesday's outlook, CSU, the module from CSU does indicate that it lines up quite well with the Storm Prediction Center. If anything, it actually takes us a little out compared to what the Storm Prediction Center has. I think it's fair, 65 west, but I like the idea of west in general. I think Illinois, Missouri, I think are the more prime targets for that. Let's advance this into Thursday. We'll get into Thursday. Now we still see the max still back into Missouri, but there are still some hints of that stronger potential. It's not off the charts, and this is nothing, to be honest, like what I saw during the late June, early July events that we had, we were all the way into this category of red and even into purple. We are way high on the elements here. This is relatively tame. So this is nothing major here that I see. Again, Storm Prediction Center has nothing on their map yet because they just haven't had enough confidence to draw where it would be. But typically, I've seen them match nearly identical to what CSU spits out. So if there's going to be another risk area added for Thursday, it would look very similar to the image on the left, something like along 64 West area. And I can't remember if I had another one or not. Is that it? That's it. That's the last one. So that's what we're talking about. And then the front will eventually move in at some point Saturday, and that should shake the pattern up briefly and allow for a couple of days of a break. We still could get some spotty storms over the weekend, but I don't see anything overly organized right now. And that's important for those heading to Beyonce next Monday, that we try to stay into a break period. And we could get into the break. But I think it's really Wednesday, we're watching areas to the west. Thursday, we're watching for complexes of storms to roll through day and night. Friday, watching for complexes of storms day and night. Saturday, a few more storms, we're getting out of the pattern. So it's really just the end portion of the week as we're most concerned about. Got a feeling we're going to have some alert days come out because of this issue, but we need a little more data on that to make that decision. So there you go. Voila. Any questions? Everyone good? Everyone's sick of this? Does anyone miss snow? Someone's got to miss snow. Type 1 if you miss snow. I know there's going to be a lot of people missing snow right now. I would type 1, but I can't. Actually, I can. Hold on. Did it work? There you go. I got 4 ones. I got 5 ones that went in the chat. Yeah, there we go. So wind. Gene, that's a good question. That's the main threat these would have in this scenario in the summertime would be straight line wind. Not so much tornadoes, but straight line wind. I don't see the wind fields as violent as against what we had before, but it only takes one strong wind gust, right, to get some strong storms. Shonda, what are you thinking for Saturday afternoonish? There is a secondary front, Shonda, that's showing up. I'm seeing differences on Saturday afternoon between like 1 p.m. it tries to move in and as late as like 10 p.m. So I don't have that answer yet. It does not look like it's going to have enough moisture to really be a widespread event. So that's good. But be aware the storm chance is not 0 right now on Saturday. But it does not look to be as wild as really the threat for late Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be. All right. There you go, Jasmine. See, I'm bringing over more and more snow lovers with this kind of a pattern. This is the kind of year where the snow lovers are probably going to win until it starts snowing 2 feet in December. Let's see, Natasha, how does Saturday and Sunday look for Kentucky? It'll be scattered storms, I think, overall, but Natasha, I don't see anything widespread or overly strong right now. But we'll watch it. I think we may be getting a little more into a break at that point. Okay, guys, I'm going to run and get ready for the midday show coming up here in about an hour. Real quick updates while I'm on here with you all on the I-64 east at Blanket Breaker, and it looks like it is moving. At least one lane is now open, so it's not closed, but one lane is open, and you still see they're still in the process getting cleaned up. We're going to have more on that incident too coming up on midday at 11 o'clock. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, you're awesome. You're the best. I appreciate the support. I'll see you guys in about an hour.